Hey, what's up, fellas? Welcome again to another wonderful Thursday morning at 10:14. Based on this recording, the recording that I've done for this content, it's 10:14 Thursday, November 13, year 2025. Cloudy in Nairobi as of now. Maybe later it will be sunny. I don't know. Weather belongs to God. Today's content, we are going to focus mainly on what happens. What happens if you shut down your PC incorrectly? Some of you, not all of you, some of you are always in a rush. And there's a high chance in a number of times within a week when you are using your PC, you didn't shut down your desktop or a laptop. You just press that button, or you disconnected it from the mains. I'm going to tell you, please stop that because there are long-term effects, especially on your hardware. Remember, your hardware is not what you just only see by outside. That is case and screen. There are so many components running within your desktop and laptop, including RAM, there is the SSD, and there is the GPU, and there is the CPU. Some of those components get damaged over time because of improper shutdown. And I'm going to list them. There is number one, there is data corruption. Number two, there is disk damage. Number three, there is RAM or cache loss, or just generally RAM damage. And number four, there is slow boot or startup errors, the blue screens, especially the blue screens. And number five, there is power circuit and hardware stress. So I'm going to explain those in brief because each of those failures is caused by what I mentioned, improper PC shutdown. And we are going to begin with number one. You see, the thing is, if you force down a machine, especially if it's writing data, there is the instance where there was something that was being done on the foreground or on the background. Remember, foreground is what you see, like maybe if you are copying something, or maybe you are saving an Illustrator work, or maybe you are playing a game and it was saving the progress. Those are the foreground. But they are background processes. Background processes are those which run, like if you have to open either Task Manager or something that checks the background processes or services within your machine. Those are the ones that are the main muscle of your foreground activities. If you shut down your PC, you cause that process to be interrupted suddenly. And what happens? If there was something that was being saved, like the way I've mentioned, a game was being saved in progress, you have cut off that process immediately. And now you have caused a blockage, an unreadable sector, or what we call corrupt system files or documents, or even sometimes if you're installing Windows and your machine has suddenly powered off, it causes corruption of that Windows installation. So that's number one. Please note, guys, shut down your machine properly. It's either you find out online, there are tutorials online where it shows you how to create shortcuts or shortcut ways in which you can properly shut down your machine. Find out, they are online. Then number two, guys, I'm going to mention about disk damage. You find that hard drives, the way they were designed, I'm going to show you a hard drive, maybe enough, in some slides. So I'm going to show you how a hard drive operates. You see, a hard drive, it is mechanical and it involves moving parts. And those moving parts, they are either reading and writing data actively in real time on your foreground and background tasks. Improper PC shutdown will do this. That thing that was being written is suddenly cut. So that section that has been written, it becomes error. It's more of like the way you are to draw on a paper. Like if you are drawing on a paper using a pencil, then suddenly something or maybe somebody just pushes you suddenly. And then you just, notice you are drawing a very fine detail of either an arch, and then it's damaged. What do you think? That kind of situation is what is happening when your hard drive is reading and writing data. So that sudden power cut, it causes that data to be corrupted. Hence, it leads to data corruption over time, especially if you continuously shut down your machine without proper steps of shutting down. Remember, it's simple as this, guys. You just go to start, select the power option on the start menu, and then select the shutdown, or right click on Windows icon or Windows logo icon on your taskbar. Then right click, select the shutdown option, wait for it. Just wait. As in, like, it's not going to kill you to just wait for it to shut down. Once the LEDs on your system, on your machine, laptop or desktop have stopped powering on, then you know it has properly shut down, and then you can leave. Or you can use third-party apps. Like the one I'd recommend is like Power Toys. There is where Power Toys run. So there is that option where you can just type shutdown, and it initiates a command where Windows will shut down, save everything it can, and then shut down. Simple as that. But the best way, guys, is just to do the normal shutdown and wait for the computer or your laptop or desktop to shut down, and then leave at your own pace. The other thing, guys, there's the RAM. You see, RAM, it is where CPU stores temporary data for it to process. Remember, CPU is like the brain. So the RAM is the temporary memory where the CPU stores, like for instance, temporary data. If it happens that there is an unexpected shutdown, or sudden power your system just go off. Sometimes those of you who are using desktops can have an outage, like the power has shut down, and it is worse for those people who don't have a UPS. So those people who don't have a UPS and they have just plugged their PC directly into the mains will always experience this problem. You'll find that once the system suddenly shuts down, you will find that you try to relaunch a certain program, let's say like Chrome, it's crashing. Or maybe you are launching Illustrator, it just crashes. Do you know what has happened? It's because that temporary allocation of that data by the CPU has been suddenly interrupted by loss of power. For your information, if power goes off, whatever the case, whether you have shut down or just power has just gone off, whether miraculously or accidentally, all the data within the RAM is usually deleted. RAM is temporary storage for programs where the CPU, when it either computes the data that it needs to interpret data or compute data, it stores temporary data within the RAM. It's totally different. They work the same like SSD because they are storages. So for the RAM is temporary, while the SSD or HDD is permanent. The difference between the two is that if power goes off, the temporary one is the one that clears all its data and it remains blank state until a system is restarted, while the other, which is SSD or HDD, is permanent. Once data is written, it stays there. It's written in blocks. That is, in SSD is written in blocks. Those are some of the issues. And then it's not only HDD that is affected by the data corruption. SSDs can also malfunction. You will find that you will always get recovery options. Once you start your machine, you see your PC wasn't shut down properly, recovering, it's trying to recover and it takes some time to recover. It's because of that behavior. So you guys, please stop that carelessness, because I'll call it carelessness. You cannot afford to be careless with the machine that you use. You will always need it. And even if you have all the money in the world, you will have to take care of it, because you will really need it in the most unexpected way. And trust me, guys, it doesn't hurt to just do something in a proper way, shut down a machine, and that's it. Simple. Finally, I'm going to delve something a bit. Something has happened in history, and it's because of somebody failed not to shut down their machine properly. So what they did is just unplugged. They yanked the power off the mains from the socket. So what happened was there was a sudden, a spark, that. What had happened is that that fire, that sudden cut of fire, caused the power to spike in a very dangerous level, because you see, the seconds it takes to unplug the cord from the socket translates into the effect of the output of the power. What happened was there was that sudden cut of power, and it caused some serious internal damage, especially at the motherboard level, where there were many MOSFETs that were fried. There were so many components that were seriously damaged as a result of unplugging power suddenly. What happens? That person took the motherboard for analysis, of which I assisted, but I told them, unfortunately, for this motherboard, based on even physically there, you're seeing the soot and, some damage and some melting. The ultimate choice was just to buy a new motherboard, unfortunately, because of just one thing: removing the cable from the socket. Never do that, guys. It will just damage your components, if not causing fire, because sometimes it can even cause fire. It will just burn into sparks, and once it gets on like clothes, your house just gets on fire and it's upon you. I have mentioned those because you must consider why you should properly shut down your machine, because you want to avoid all those scenarios that I've mentioned. Guys, it's simple. Just press the Windows logo icon, select shutdown, wait, it gets done, and then walk away. Or if you're in a hurry, just select it and make sure you have left it shutting down, at least shutting down. Sometimes it may find that it hasn't shut down, it has stayed on. That's okay. It's better than just pressing the button like or unplugging the mains from the socket. Those are things, guys, you should consider in your daily lives. I know most of you guys do it, but some of you are careless. Those of you who don't have a UPS, that is universal power supply, the one that gives backup power in case of power loss, please consider buying a UPS. Whenever you get the money, it's good, because it will ensure that the file that you are working on earlier before power loss is properly saved. The worst case for any of those is damaging your hardware completely, where you have to now to buy a new machine because of you being careless. I know you guys are good, but consider that. So see you guys. And remember, proper PC shutdown is the priority of the day. So good luck, guys, as you work, and see you later. Bye-bye.